Hey guys, how you doing today? Just got back from seeing somebody and thought, hey, what the heck, might as well do a video, right? Just sitting outside my place. You know what? Has been really banging around in my head. I was talking about Jagmeet Singh and AOC getting together with a bunch of other sort of left-wing people to play Among Us, and how that's kind of like propaganda, and I didn't think much of it at the time, but now I've put some thought into it. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, so this happened. And at the very least, what this is, and what this event does represent for the populace and for those individuals who are involved in that, is a forging, like sort of unofficially, a forging of some kind of alliance. That all of the people involved in that want to be seen together, want to be seen doing something that doesn't necessarily have to be political, right? It doesn't have to be, or directly political. I mean, certainly what they're doing is political, but like they're not having conservatives in there, right? They're not having what we're looking at through this is a big wind gust. Hope that doesn't mess with the sound. But we are seeing a coalition of progressive leaders, or people who at least want to be seen as progressive, coming together in order to just do something kind of fun and light. And I mean, I do think that levity is important these days. We're so mired in this sort of negativity that we're living in, and the world has become very negative, that, hey, maybe it's not so bad if, you know, some of our leaders and left-wing pundits and journalists and things like this get together and just, you know, have a bit of fun, something that we can watch. And certainly it's I think the word that I'm looking at is like unofficial allegiances, is how I'm looking at this. That these people are coming together and looking at one another and being like, okay, we can trust one another. We are in each other's corner. We've got each other's backs. And so I think there is something to that, you know, like, because one of the things I think that is happening in our society more and more and more is that there is a larger delineation coming between, like, people are beginning to really understand that liberals are not leftists. You know, it is starting to unfold that unless you're a conservative, because if you're a conservative, everything to the left of you is leftist. But you're like pretty much like, you're barely just to the left of fascism if you're a conservative in this environment. So like, of course, everything to the left of that is leftist. But if you're an actual leftist, like if you're a communist or even a socialist, liberals are not socialist or communist. They're not aligned with those leftist values, right? Liberals are still a right-wing party that are aligned pretty closely with corporate power, right? And I think this is starting to become more and more apparent to everyone except conservatives. And perhaps liberals themselves, right? Liberals want to believe that they are these... This is what's so sad about the liberals, right? Like, they want to believe that they are these sort of fighters for progressive values, and that they want to believe that they're going to progress the society forward, and they want to believe these things about themselves, but they're just not. Like, they're just not. Any like outside critique of liberal power, especially modern liberal power, like, it was different under Trudeau Sr. Trudeau Sr. actually did things, but these liberals are basically just upholding corporate power, right? And they're not really to be taken that seriously whenever they stand up and speak, right? Like, it's like I make fun of them for this, the Great Reset. Like, oh, Justin Trudeau stood up in front of the UN and said something about the Great Reset, and the conservatives are losing their minds, and like, we're all supposed to go crazy. Like, the National Post is publishing articles like, so they're socialists and communists. Oh my goodness, it's so horrible. And it's so obvious this is just a division tactic. Like, you really have to be gullible to fall for this. Because like, Justin Trudeau stood up at the UN and said like, oh, Canada's back. We're here to negotiate in good faith about climate change and all this kind of stuff. And what are we doing? We're like banning straws. Like, it's embarrassing, right? It's embarrassing how far behind and how slow we are to actually do anything about this extremely serious issue. So when Justin Trudeau stands up and says, like, we're going to experience a great reset, it's like, probably not. Like, probably not. Like, the chances are very good that the Liberals will do everything that corporate power wants them to do. And, you know, maybe they'll do a little nod to some sort of union group or something like this, but they're not going to actually pass legislation to help anybody, right? That's not how Liberals seem to be rolling, you know? I've said it again and again. I'll continue to say it. Stephen Harper was a better prime minister than Justin Trudeau. Like, we got the childcare benefit out of Stephen Harper. What have we gotten out of Justin Trudeau? Fucking straw ban? Ooh, okay. You know, like, we're in a position, we're in a state right now where we need to be seriously talking about major reconfigurations of how our society works. And our main allies are playing among us in order to forge allegiances between themselves, you know? Like, this is where we're at. And that's kind of weird, but at the same time, like, I play video games. I like video games. I think people should play video games. And if politicians are going to play video games with one another in order to forge alliances with one another and indicate to the populace that we work together, right? We play games together. We're on the same team together, doing this kind of thing. Then, I mean, I guess that's what it's going to look like. It's just kind of, it's just kind of weird, you know. It's just kind of weird that, like, someone who is legitimately running to be the leader of our country is playing among us in order to forge, like, political inroads and to make it apparent in front of the whole populace that that's what's happening. And people like me are supposed to look at that and be like, he's a viable leader of the country. And you know what? At this stage in the game, I look at the Conservatives, they're just a burning disaster garbage fire. Like, they're going to get in and privatize healthcare. They've said it. Like, they're not pretending. Like, they're not even, like, they are telling you this to your face, that they're going to privatize systems, that they're going to make things worse for everybody. And the Liberals are standing there being like, yeah, we care about you, so we're going to pass nothing and do nothing of importance. Like, okay. And then we turn and look at the NDP and are just like, I guess it might as well be you, bud. Go play some Among Us. Have some fun. Sorry. It's just so stupid. It's just so stupid. I just want... Like, life is complex and difficult and full of all kinds of ridiculous nonsense. And it just seems shocking to me that we can't come to an agreement as a people as to whether or not people should have food and shelter. That's what's... Because these are the stakes that we're talking about, okay? Like, make no mistake about it. The stakes that we are talking about is people's ability to survive in their society, their ability to get food for themselves, to get shelter for themselves. This is the stakes, and anybody who pretends differently is living in a Looney Tune land. People are very concerned about feeding and sheltering themselves, and all you have to do is look down to the States and see the gigantic bread lines that they have down there, the gigantic horror show that people are going through right now, to realize that we can do that. We can do that. Pretty clearly we can do that. We can definitely do that. And we're just like a thread away from it. And there is a line of thought that goes through our culture that says that people have to prove their merit when it comes to getting food and shelter for themselves. They have to prove that they have to prove to middlemen who do no work and provide no value that they are worthy of having food and shelter. And what's stunning about this is that, like, food comes from the ground freely. Like, we used to, literally, we can, like, still see it. We used to just wander around and get that stuff. We used to pick it off trees and pick it out of the ground, right? We used to have, there were not that many of us, and so we could plant food. But now we've erected these systems, and instead of the populace having control of the system for the benefit of the populace, there are these worthless middlemen who have inserted themselves between the food production and between the producer and the consumer. And it's to the detriment of both, right? It's to the detriment of the producer because the producer isn't getting the full value of his labor, right? And it's to the detriment of the consumer because the consumer is being overpriced for inferior product, right? Like, your iPhone is obsolete within 3 years, 4 years. It's absurd. Like, there's a planned obsolescence. So these worthless middlemen called capitalists plot against not only the worker, the producer, the person who actually does the work and does the labor, but also against the consumer. And in the end, you look and you ask, okay, well, what is it that you are doing, Mr. Capitalist? And the answer is, oh, I'm just rich. That's all. I'm just rich. I withhold goods and services from people so that I can make more money for myself. That's the role of the capitalist in our society. And how that extends out into our politics is that you have a conservative class which is wholly beholden to this idea that our public sector and our public services should be privatized for the benefit of a small group of vanishingly small billionaires. You have a liberal party who mouths support for progressive or socialist ideals, but then when they get into power, they do nothing to prevent the further slide in towards corporate power. And then you have an NDP who is largely unproven, honestly, playing Among Us. I'm so sorry. It's just so, like... And what's most hilarious about this is that it looks like this Among Us thing is working. I think it's quite charming. I think people are charmed by it. And the NDP has always wanted to be charming, and they've always wanted to be likable and liked, right? That's why Tom Mulcair runs a campaign where he's just a smiling, nice, Raffy kind of figure, which I always looked at and thought was stupid. Even when it was happening, I was like, dude, like, we liked you in the House and you got leadership of the NDP because you eviscerate people, because we see you in the House, dude. You're a powerful man. But anytime the camera gets on him in a media sense, he's, oh, hi, I'm Tom Mulcair. Oh. He wants to be likable. And now it looks like Jagmeet Singh might be the thing that does it for the NDP. That, oh, hey, you know what the youths like? The youths like video games. Let's get Jagmeet Singh to play some video games with AOC and some other left-wing people. Oh, by the way, the planet's burning. like for fuck's sake. Like, for fuck's sake. Okay, I gotta go. I'm gonna go now. Good luck out there, guys. Go meet a friend, high five a polar bear, dance on a moose. Another ridiculous... Oh, like, share, subscribe. I'm trying to remember, for the love of God, I'm trying to remember. If you make it to the end of this and you think that this is worth anything to you in your life, like, share, subscribe, send it around. Let's make me famous. All right, guys, good luck out there. Mwah.